seen the UltiPro login. Your employee user ID will be your employee number with the leading zeros. So it is the same as your Kronos or your current user ID. Your password the first time you log in will be your date of birth, including the 2-digit month, 2-digit day, and the 4-digit year. The first time you log in, you will be prompted to change your password, and the password requirements are 8 characters long. It must include at least one number, one uppercase letter, and one lowercase letter, in addition to one special character, such as a $sign, pound sign, etc. An example of a valid password is best workplace, $12 with a capital B. When you log in, you can reset your password as long as you meet your security requirements. You will also be asked to answer 3 security questions. So I'm going to log in as an employee. And I've already reset my password, so I'm not going to be required to do so at this time. When we log into the system, and I'm following along with the PowerPoint as I'm demonstrating, up at Myself, you will have 2 options, time management and time clock entry. If you are going to be recording or punching in or out for the day, you will select the time clock entry option. When you select time clock entry, you'll be prompted to either punch in. By punching in, you'll receive a new window that says thank you for punching in, and it shows your date and time that you punched. It also records what was the last time that you had punched. The transfer button that is located on the screen does not apply to MDC holdings, so you may ignore that. You will need to punch in at the start of your day and at the end of your day. And if you are an employee that is required to punch in or out for lunch, you must also punch in and out for lunch to record your time. If you would like to proceed to your timesheet, you may hover over the Myself option and select the Time Management. Time Management will open up the UTM, the UltiPro Time Management System. At the top of your screen, so we can go through how to read the timesheet, will display the period of time in which you're looking at. From the drop-down option, you may choose whatever period you'd like to select. The system automatically knows the dates that are associated with the current and last and next pay period. You'll see the dates change accordingly. If you would like to use a custom date range, you may select from the down menu the user-defined pay period. When the user-defined pay period is selected, you must use the calendar to choose your date. So if you wanted to look at a pay period of time that included November 18th, you could actually just point and click and select November 18th. If you needed to change the month for any reason, you may do so by using the drop-down on the month. You may also use the arrows to the left of the calendar date. Once you select your date, you will need to select the search icon, and the system will refresh to the date in which encompassed that date you selected. So I chose December 1st. December 1st falls in the pay period of November 29th to December 12th. For today's demo purposes, I'm going to select the current pay period. Beneath our date, we have a time and date stamp. The time and date stamp will reflect the time zone in which you are employed in. So every time you log in, you will see the time zone that is based on where you're at. I am in Mountain Time Zone, so you will see the Mountain Time Zone itself. Beneath the time and date stamp are several icons: save, add, delete, undo, recalc, and submit. The save is exactly what it says. Save will save any changes that you make to your timesheet. The add button, just so you're aware of it, does not add time to your timesheet. It will add a blank row at the bottom. So notice there's 3 blank rows. If I select Add, I now have 4. If I needed to delete one of those blank rows, I could also do so by selecting the Delete button. The Undo would undo anything that I had just done, as long as I don't have a save that was already occurred. The Recalculate works the same as the Save button. It'll save and update your timesheet. At the end of a pay period, the Submit button, an employee can submit their timesheet so their manager knows it's ready for approval. Beneath our icons is the actual timesheet. It starts off with the date, which is the date of the time worked, or any type of vacation hours that would be applied towards the pay period. The second column includes the pay code. It may be regular hours, it might be vacation, sick, etc. We have our in time, which is the start of our shift, the out time that we left for the day. The system will then calculate the number of regular hours that are applied, the number of overtime hours, and double time if that's applicable by your state laws. The last column would show your daily hours, for the total daily hours. The reason has options to choose from if necessary, and you'll be prompted to do so at a later date. Okay. As an employee, I can come in and select a date, but notice I cannot do anything further with my timesheet. As an hourly employee, I must punch in and I must punch out for the day. That's how my time will populate onto my timesheet. I may not edit my timesheet at all. I cannot make any changes to my time. The red icon in the very first row, if I hover over it, displays a missed punch. Anytime an employee fails to clock in or out for the day and has a missed punch recorded, the supervisor will have notification that there's a missed punch, and the supervisor will be prompted to make those corrections on behalf of the employee. Once all missed punches are corrected on the timesheet, the employee would be able to submit their timesheet to their manager. In the upper right-hand corner of any screen you see in the UTM system is a print icon. If you'd like to print out the information on the page, you may select the print icon and receive that printed document. As I continue to scroll down to the bottom of our timesheet, we have a weekly summary. That'll break down your hours worked between weeks within the pay period. It also breaks it down by regular overtime and double time hours. Further down, we can collapse the weekly summary, and we can see the timesheet summary. The timesheet summary at the bottom is very similar to the weekly summary. However, it also breaks down the hours by type of pay code. So regular hours, overtime, etc. would be displayed. Continuing through the PowerPoint, we just covered the punching in and out. We've also covered how to view your timesheet and also how to submit your timesheet. We're moving forward to how to review your schedule that's in the system. In order to view your schedule in the system, we are going to go right up to the schedule. So we're still under the attendance tab. We're going to choose schedules. It's prompting me if I ever tried to make a change to my timesheet and it says you need to save what you did. I can hit OK and it would save my changes, if any. And now I can move on forward to the Schedules tab. In the Schedule tab, you must choose the period of date range that you are looking to see your schedule for. And if you were set up to be on a schedule of any sort, your schedule would be displayed by day with a start and end time. Notice once again there is a print icon as well. The History tab is not in the PowerPoint, but just for your information, there's a History tab that would display any of your work data in a calendar type format, in annual, monthly, as well as a list view format. You always have to choose the date range in which you want to view. and here's our list format. The last tab in the history format is the calendar summary, and this will display information based on the total hours worked and the number of days worked by day of week. So this particular employee worked 2 Tuesdays for a total of 13 hours and 30 minutes. Worked on 2 Wednesdays for 9 hours and 30 minutes between January 1st and December 31st. If you had any missed punches, etc., that would also be displayed down below in the calendar summary. Continuing forward to the requesting time off, as a reminder, the accrual balances for all of the employees will not be loaded until approximately December 22nd. However, I do want to take you through the course of knowing how to enter your time off request moving forward. So as an employee requesting time off, we're going to move away from the attendance tab now and select the scheduler. From the scheduler, you can select requests. The request has 2 tabs, new requests and all requests. New is where we will start by selecting or entering a request for time off that we would like to make. Once we've requested time off, all of our time off requests go into our all request tab, and we'll touch base on that shortly. Underneath the balance summary, it will display hours that you have available to use. The balance will come over from the core system into the UTM. And if you have any type of future time off requests that are in the system, your available balance will reflect time that you've already requested off. So if I have 152 hours today, and I make a request today, but it's not for until June of 2015, my balance is still going to be reduced by the hours that I've requested to take off. So if I'd like to submit a time off request, under the request details section, in the request description, I'm going to give this a title of some sort. You can name it what you'd like. In the request type drop-down menu, you'll select the type of time off request you'd like to take. You will only see the type of time off request that you have available to you. If there's a balance associated with that type of time off request, it would be displayed above. You may not request time off that you do not have available. So if you only have 40 hours of vacation time, you may not request greater than 40 hours of vacation. So for demo purposes, I'm going to select bereavement for today, and I'm going to select it to use it today, December 9th, for 1 day from December 9th to December 9th. I can also leave an optional message to my supervisor if I chose to. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Notice at the bottom right now it's blank. I must hit the populate option or icon. When I select the populate, information will display in the bottom portion of my screen. It will auto-populate with 8 hours. If you need to take something other than 8 hours, you may select in the requested hours field and change that to the necessary amount. For the demo purposes, I'm going to keep it at 8 hours. Now, you're not complete yet. The last step of requesting time off is scrolling back to the top of the page, and you must hit the Save button. When you hit the Save button, you'll receive notification that your time off request was submitted successfully. Once you receive that confirmation that it was submitted successfully, your supervisor will also receive notification that you submitted a time off request. Your supervisor will be prompted to either approve it or decline it. Once your supervisor has approved or declined your time off request, you will also receive notification of your time off request being processed. The notification would appear in your inbox. Every time you sign in, if you have any new messages, you will be prompted to review your messages. Once you submitted a time off request, if you need to submit an additional time off request, you may do so by selecting the plus sign in the top right-hand corner, and you may start the process all over again. The All Requests tab that I mentioned before is a record of all the time off requests that you submitted based on the period of time in which you have selected to review. So I submitted a bereavement time off request just a few moments ago called Test Demo 2. If I select that, I actually have the ability to edit my request, send a reminder to my supervisor, and I can also cancel that request for time off. Anytime I submit a time off request, I edit my time off request or cancel my request, that does require an approval or declination from your supervisor. In addition, at the top, we have one more additional tab called Calendars. And if you're following along on the PowerPoint, we have just completed requesting the time off, and now we're in the time off request calendar. The time off request calendar will reflect any type of request you made directly through the scheduler. It will show in a color coding what the status of those requests are. So as you can see in our color code, yellow is a pending request. If I scroll down to the bottom in the month of December, there are several requests that were submitted that are still pending my supervisor's approval. If I select any of those, you also have the ability to edit, send reminder, and cancel requests, just like we could from that All Requests tab. Select the edit just so you can see the options that are available. Anytime that you're exiting the system, you may choose to hit the exit button in the top right-hand corner of your screen. At this point in time, that concludes the employee portion of the training. As Krista mentioned earlier, if you are an employee in a non-supervisory type role, you are free to exit the webinar at this time. If you are a supervisor, please stay on the webinar